Ladies and gentlemen, what a wild card weekend we have just experienced, and I'm going to be going through and reacting to every single game. It was a great weekend. It was a lot more competitive than I even thought it was going to be. If you guys are new to the content, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. We are on the road to 300. If you're new, just subscribe. It really does mean the world to me, and it helps me out a lot. This wild card weekend was crazy. It was ridiculous. It had a lot of comebacks, it had a lot of close games, and it had a lot of blowouts, and we'll get onto that later with the Bucks and the Cowboys. So, let's get into this video. Comment down below what team you're rooting for in these playoffs and who you want to win the Super Bowl. So, the first game we had was my 49ers going into the Seahawks, and honestly, from having a perspective of me, I was scared. I was pretty happy with the start of the game, but after like dude, once we got into the second quarter and I saw they were leading and going to halftime, I was scared. I was like, this is not good. This is like a typical Niners playoff game where we start off good and then we struggle. And then but then the actual Niners 10-game win streak Niners came into play in the third and fourth quarter and just went on a rampage. Honestly, 23-41, it really was more like 17-41. They just had a touchdown at the end, and that's what got them the extra points. But let's look at this box score. So we'll start off with the Seahawks, and you know what? Geno Smith first ever playoff game. Solid game for Geno. Geno played well. I think Geno got the Niners defense a little bit messed up. I think they struggled a little bit. Kenneth Walker, he did fine. He did decent. And DK Metcalf, what a game for DK. I wish Charvarius Ward was able to cover him a little bit more, but he wasn't able to. Good thing that our offense didn't play well because the Seahawks, the Niners defense really kind of was disappointing. It just shows that when one of our like teams, either offense or defense, messes up, the other one comes in clutch, which is great to see. But yeah, DK went off 10 recs, 136 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The only problem is their defense just didn't do anything. A total of 1 sack on the day, no turnovers, and I think that was the big decider. Going over the 49ers, Brock Purdy has just been playing ridiculous. 18 out of 30, 332 yards, 3 touchdowns, an amazing game from Brock. And he just looked comfortable. Those two passing touchdowns. It was to Christian McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell. They were almost the same play. He got pressured, he got out of it, and then he found Christian McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell on the side, and they were both wide open for a walking touchdown. It just shows that he I feel like he's just understanding how to be that amazing quarterback, and he's really taking a big step. McCaffrey again does great. Debo had a big game, had some big plays. Also, I did see that Jonathan Abram did pull his leg at the end of a play where he got a catch. That's not cool. Don't do that. Don't try to get a player injured, especially the player like Debo who's been injured a couple times. Ayuk did decent. I was happy with how our team played. I wish our defense played a little better, but again, taking that into the Dallas Cowboys, I think will definitely improve. And yeah, that's about as I can say. I mean, the defense did well. We got a pick from Lenore. We got a total of 3 sacks. It was decent. It was a decent performance from the defense, and the Niners end up winning. Next up, we have the Jaguars and the Chargers, and my oh my, what a game! Not in a good way, but what a game! Wow, wow, wow. The Chargers up 27-0. 27-0. Jaguars come back and win 31-30. What a game. Brandon Staley, he has to be fired. Brandon Staley has to be fired. I'm sorry to say it. Staley has to be fired. The Chargers end their 10-7 season with an L. And honestly, they probably would have won their 12 to 13 games if Staley was not there. Staley's the reason why they lost the game. That's all I can say. Good season by the Chargers, but my goodness, the Jaguars, especially with Trevor Lawrence doing not one, not two, not three, but 4 interceptions in the game. But I guess that's all you need to do. Herbert had a touchdown. Eckler had 2 touchdowns, but wasn't very, very consistent, like yardage-wise. Everett got a touchdown. He had a big game. Keenan Allen. I was away for this because I didn't really get to watch the full game because I was somewhere else. But just from the looks of the game, man, the Jaguars had a good chance at winning. The Chargers had a good chance at winning this game, and they just couldn't do it. Trevor Lawrence, 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, that much inconsistency. But Trevor came on in the second half, and he went crazy. ETN a good day. Ingram, Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, Marvin Jones, all with 1 touchdown. And both defenses were pretty terrible. I mean, obviously, 4 interceptions. Asante Samuel Jr. with 3 of them. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter when the Jaguars win. I mean, if I'm taking a takeaway out of this game, if Fire Brand Staley, and good comeback from the Jaguars. That's all I'm going to say. Next up, we had our first Sunday game, and this was a weird one. I did watch this game. I did watch this game. We had the Bills and the Dolphins, and just from watching the game, this was a weird game because I expected the Bills to blow the Dolphins out of the water. I will not lie to you. I expected the Bills to absolutely destroy the Miami Dolphins, and it ended up being a close game. Sky Thompson's performance was not amazing, but it wasn't awful, I guess. But it was weird because when you look at the stats of the Dolphins, you wonder, how did they score 31 points? How did they score 31 points? And it was honestly because of their defense. It was because of the kicker. It was because their team as a whole just seemed to just have confidence almost. Josh Allen struggled, especially in that second quarter. He struggled. And Miami honestly could have won this game pretty easily. If they had Tua, Miami would have won this game. That's what I'm going to say. If they had Tua, Miami would have won this game. I'd be worried if I was a Bills fan because that did not look good. That looked ugly. A couple of Josh Allen's picks were bad. We saw their defense struggling quite a bit on a third-string quarterback. That's not a great sign to see. I don't know how to feel if you're a Bills fan. I'm not happy with them, but at least he moved on. But if you do not play, if you play like this against the Bengals, you are going to get crushed. You're going to get crushed. And the Bengals didn't even play that good, but you're going to get crushed if you face the Bengals and you're like this. Diggs and Gabriel Davis both had 100 yards. I mean, their offense did produce. Just their defense, man, they were bad. And their offense made some crucial bad plays that almost cost them the game. And next up, we have the Giants and the Vikings. This was the only game of the week that I was wrong about. I was close to picking the Giants. I won't lie to you, I was close. I just felt like the Vikings just are the better team, but it shows that the Vikings are just always losing those close games. Daniel Jones, amazing performance. Probably the most surprising performance in the playoffs against the Vikings. I knew the Vikings defense is bad, but Daniel Jones made them look terrible. 24 for 35, 301 yards, two touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Also had 17 carries for 78 yards. What a game for Daniel Jones. Saquon had 2 touchdowns. Isaiah Hodgins had 105 yards and a touchdown. And their defense was not amazing, but it did what they needed to do. And that's kind of what the Vikings kind of struggle with. That, like, the Giants they outscored them. They outscored them. And legitimately, if you're a Vikings team, your defense is not good. So if you're going to win the games, you're going to have to outscore your opponent. And they just didn't outscore the opponent. Kirk Cousins, I mean, he looked decent, I guess. I mean, he had a decent stat line, to be fair. Now looking at 31 for 39, 273 yards, 2 touchdowns. It was not his fault. So basically, I mean, the Vikings just did not play up to standards that they normally do. And that kind of cost them. They have to score more points than the opposing team. And with a defense like that's that bad, they need to score more points, and they just couldn't do it. Next up, we have the Bengals and the Ravens. And Bengals, you won, but it really was that 98-yard fumble recovery TD by Sam Humber that won you the game because you guys did not look that good. Honestly, very boring game. From the start of the game to the end of the game, it was a very boring game. But props to the Ravens, man. They played pretty good. Again, kind of like the Bills. I mean, the Bengals, they could have easily lost this game. They honestly should have. Because, I mean, it was 17-17. Ravens had it at the 2-yard line, and they end up fumbling, and they lose the game. So, Ravens scored that touchdown. It's 24-17 Ravens, and the Bengals don't have a lot of time left. So, kind of a disappointment from the Cincinnati Bengals, but I do believe that they can come back. Not much to talk about this game. I mean, the Ravens did what they had to do. They got enough. They made it a close game, but the Bengals are just the better team. And last but not least, we had the Monday night game. We had the Dallas Cowboys and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I expected it to the Cowboys to win. I did not expect it to be a blow. I thought, playoff Tom Brady, he does well against the Cowboys. He could end up having a good game, but no. Tom Brady sucked. And I don't care about his stat line. 35 for 66. 66 pass attempts. 66 pass attempts for Tom Brady. That is terrible. And only 35 completions. They only had a total of 12 carries on the day for a total of 52 yards. That's pretty bad. I mean, receiving did decent, but at the end of the day, I mean, their defense played terrible. Dak Prescott had one of his best games, 25 for 33, 305 yards, 4 touchdowns. You eventually thought he was going to make a pick, but he actually didn't. And Dalton Schultz obviously had a really, really good game. CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup with touchdowns as well. And honestly, this came down to which team played better tonight, and it was the Cowboys. Pretty even matchup, but it shows that an 8-9 record's not going to make you past the first round for the Buccaneers. Tom Brady looked bad, and I think that's going to be his last game as a Buck. And that's the end of my reactions. If you guys like these reactions, please share really well, like and subscribe to the channel. Tomorrow or Thursday, I'll be posting you my predictions for the divisional round. Obviously, it won't be as much, so I might do something else as well involved in that. And I hope you guys are all having a wonderful day. Hope you guys continue to have a great day. Comment down below what was the most surprising thing of this wild card, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!